And welcome back to the Constitutionalist Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is a premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Finally back on a schedule. Finally back shooting something early and putting it out the next day. Because that's how these things work. This is a Constitutionalist Podcast. Like I said, it's a premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. It's a podcast where I sit down alone and talk about news stories alone. Now, here's the thing. I prepared exactly 0 things for this here news story. In fact, I'm actually pushing something right now to Chrome using Pushbullet on Android. It's not a good app. You have to pay for it, subscription, in order to do a lot of good stuff. But I already got one thing up. I'm going to bring my timer back up. Yeah, so I've been a little bit in and out of commission the past couple of weeks doing C+ comedy stuff. Or rather, the lack of doing C+ comedy stuff. It's tough. It's tough, and I think I've hit a wall. News time in particular has suffered. I missed a news time last week. I'd never done that in 6 years. I know I hinted at it. I said it in the last episode that was recorded not even... What was today? Today's Thursday. Recorded yesterday. Anyway... But now we're back into the air. I got to knock out 3 more news times. Well, technically, the last episode's already been shot. But I have to put together 2 blooper specials, 2 cold opens for the blooper specials. So the bloopers are already done, but the cold opens I got to do. The bloopies, as I call them. And then I have to do, I'm doing something different with the top 5 this year because I don't want to give a list. Because everybody's doing these decade lists, which is fine. I don't want to crap on anybody's, terrain like that, but everybody's doing these end of the decade lists, the best things from the past, from 2010 to 2020. Well, thank God the heat is on. Again, these bricks are very cold. It was in the 30s today. These bricks are just so chilly, and I've had to turn up the heat because again the 30s. Now my electric bill is going to be $70 this month. And there's one more day in the pay period. I'm so mad. What's going on? What's going on in the world? This is me vamping. Oh, God. What's going on? What's going on in the world? What's going on? The Game Awards are tonight. The Game Awards are Jeff Keighley's award show. That's supposed to be the high... God, I don't know how to put this. The Academy Awards for movies, the Emmy Awards for television shows, and to some extent the Golden Globes. Those are the most prestigious awards. The Tony Awards, not the Grammys. The Grammys, I guess. Those are the most prestigious awards that one can win in the entertainment industry. Video games don't have those type of award shows. Now they technically have, like, IGN gives out awards, Game Informer, all these little places give out all these places give out awards every year. Best game, best action movie, best superhero film. However, and then there's also, like, I guess Twitch awards. I don't know. Anyway, but however, those don't matter. As if I'm saying, the Oscars do matter. I mean, it's all awards. It's all things that we've made up and manufactured in our heads. But yes, the Oscars do matter when compared to the AMAs. The Grammys matter compared to the AMAs. Oscars matter more when compared to the MTV Movie Awards. Okay, so. With that being said, the Game Awards is supposed to be this big, bombastic, essentially the Emmys, the Oscars, the Grammys, the Tonys, of the Globes of the video game world. They're not. Let's come out and say that right now, because it's completely different. Video games are a work of art. Movies, TV shows, music videos, even a work of art. Plays, musicals, work of art. However, video game award shows tend to have little fanboyisms that would not speak to the professional nature that can come from the Grammys, the Oscar, all the Hollywood Academy Award shows and the Globes. So here we are. The Game Awards feature a lot of appearances from there, and it mirrors what the film and television industry award shows. They have, the famous people show up. They have the famous people, the famous industry leaders, Reggie Fils-Aimé, Phil Spencer, who's PlayStation's some Japanese person for PlayStation, Doug Bowser now for Nintendo. It was very racist of me to say. But in that they also have the audience is made up of people who are just willing to clap for anything. The presentations are mostly about showing off the new video games that are coming. Like you never watch an Oscar or an Emmy showcase and see a trailer for a new show, or a new movie. You're not going to be sitting there watching the Oscars early next year in February, and you'll see, and you're not going to see a trailer for the new Ghostbusters movie. That just doesn't happen. Speaking of which, I got issues with that new trailer. It's all white. Why is the new Ghostbusters all white? We live in a world where, and this is my issue with Knives Out, and this is also my issue with the Golden Globes. Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. Okay. But we'll get to that in a second. Actually, let me pick up the list right here. What was I talking about? So the Game Awards are tonight. They have sales. Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox all have sales. PC, I assume, has sales as well. The games you think are going to win are probably going to win. The Outer Wilds. What else came out this year? Did Red Dead 2? I bought Red Dead last January, and I've been piecemeal beating it, playing it throughout the course of the year, because that's how video games are played in my house. It takes me so long to beat a video game. I just don't want to. I think it comes from when I was younger and we'd only get one video game. And so usually people would beat it and then beat it again and beat it again. Me, I like to take my time. I was looking up. I know what's going to happen. It's a prequel. It's a prequel game. I know what's going to happen. Everybody dies except for John. But I was looking up something for. So at the end of the game, there's an epilogue, and you start playing as the main character from Red Dead Redemption regular proper. And there's a bunch of side missions that you can do with him, but the side missions you can also do with the original person you play as. And I was looking up stuff for what side missions are better to finish in the epilogue. And I was reading the comments of one of them, and the game came out November 2018, late November 2018, and somebody said that the day it came out, November 24th, or something like that, they said they'd beaten it, and then they're going to start their second playthrough. And I went, that is not how you play a video game. This game is, let's see, howlongtobeat.com. If you go there, you can see how long it takes to beat a game. People put in their stats and everything. So Red Dead Redemption 2, the main plus extra. So main story is 46.5 hours. Main plus extra is 75.5 hours, and completionist is 155 hours. That's how long it'll take you to beat this game. And this person beat it in 24 hours. Or in the 2 days since it posted or whatever. That just amazes me, how you can waste all of your time. Like, people take off, if you read comments, people take off work and stuff to play video games, and I couldn't do that. Just take your time. Take your time, play the game. Take your time watching the show. Take your time doing anything you love. I'm clearing out my email mailbox. That's how into this episode of The Constitutionals I am. If you're watching the video, you can watch me use the touchscreen of my laptop to do that. But now we're back. Now we're back paying attention. Don't worry, baby. I got you. Game Awards tonight. There's going to be announcements. I think Jeff Keighley's a guy who used to host a show called The Game Informer Show on Spike TV. For years, that show was on Spike TV before Spike TV became Paramount Network. It was on at like 12:30 on a Friday. Just the weirdest times, and it would always have the best reviews and a bunch, or game trailers. Was it gametrailers.tv or something like that? Anyway, yeah. So great show. This is when video games were on television, where you could have the television network for video games, G4. And man, I was looking at some Attack of the Show last week on YouTube, like old episodes of Attack of the Show, and God, I missed that show. I don't like Olivia Munn, but I missed that show. I have my issues with her. Listen, we're gonna take a real quick break, then we'll come back and we'll talk about a couple of things. All right, pack it up. All right, we're back in 3, 2, 1. Man, we're back to the show. Still pointing. Still going through it. I got a couple of things to talk about here. First thing up is YouTube. This is from NPR. Written by Paola Zialcita. Really butchered that name. YouTube announces new anti-harassment policy to fight racial, gender, LGBTQ abuse. YouTube has been under, I don't want to say under the gun, because that just seems kind of, I should start this, whatchamacallit. YouTube has been getting a lot of flack lately because of policies that it has towards monetization and how YouTubers aren't making as much money as they should, and viewers and ads and race and all this, and a bunch of crap that they did not see coming. I'm not defending them, but they did not see this coming. Now, for years, YouTube, this is from the article, YouTube has faced flack from critics over its platform's anti-harassment policies. Now the Google-owned company announced Wednesday it will take a tougher stance on content negatively targeting people based on their race, gender, expression, or sexual orientation. So that's 3 things that they're focusing on. And I quickly want to preface the story by saying people are mad. That includes the very liberal YouTubers, the conservative YouTubers, and just the people who want to make money on YouTube. People are very mad because they're saying, let's read it. Let's read ahead. Oh Jesus, there's a pop-up. The changes. Whoa. Okay, hold on. All right, this is from Mark Halpern, a vice president at YouTube. He said that the changes were made after seeking opinions. We met with a number of experts who shared their perspective and informed our process, from organizations that study online bullying or advocate on behalf of journalists to free speech proponents and policy organizations from all sides of the political spectrum. I'm going to read the tweet. You can read the tweet for yourself, but they asked themselves a question. It was a little tight and cute. The changes are the latest in YouTube's attempt to re-examine its anti-harassment policies. The company came under scrutiny in June following a decision to not ban a right-wing YouTuber for repeatedly targeting a gay journalist. June's controversy began when, if you don't know that story, again, right-winger attacks person who who defines, I'm not gonna do this, who's gay, and and it became a big Hufflepuff because, am I using that right? Because everybody thinks that you should be able to say something, but also that person shouldn't be able to do it so freely on YouTube. But now YouTube's changing the policy, and everybody is up in arms about that. Following the outcry, YouTube has since denied the person to the right to earn money, the conservative person, the alt-right person, the right to earn money from advertising on the site, although he still remains active there. Removing ads from channels is one punishment applicable to repeat offenders. Videos can also be removed by the hands of YouTube administrators, and entire channels can be deleted if actions elevate to such behavior, which has happened before. I forgot who. It was somebody, I don't want to say big, but it was somebody decently sized where their YouTube account was accidentally deleted. So we know it can happen. We know it's a thing. Many have expressed skepticism that YouTube would actually enforce the new policies. Mazza described the latest changes as quote-unquote vague. So Mazza said demonetization can't work when people like Crowder continue to make money from direct donations and merchandise, which is a new thing. Direct donations, if you look on a YouTube channel, say Ant Dude. I don't know. I should name somebody big. Um, this is very big. This is a weird slight. If you look on a YouTube, if you look on a popular YouTube channel, they now, some of them, if you have enough subscribers, you can donate money directly to them, and that person will get the money automatically instead of relying on you having to watch ads or relying on a Patreon. You can just get, or it's like Twitch. You can donate money to somebody directly. I think what people are mad at. Hold on, let me finish the article. Okay, so then the donations and merchandise. So this alt-right person can still make money from donations and merchandise, which is still plugged in through YouTube. Others expressed concern that the guidelines would target the wrong people and stifle creative endeavors. One Twitter user asked, "How does this work with humor?" YouTube support team said they'll take note of context behind videos. I mean, I guess I am defending YouTube in this sense. They're being as forthright as possible. You want them to make changes. There's an outcry in June. Fine, I support you on that. No one should be made fun of for their race or sexual orientation or gender confirmation. But when they finally start implementing some stuff, they kind of take it as a little bit too little too late. And people get mad about the whole situation, which is not fair for YouTube because, they're saying, hey, if you're being mean, we're going to take away ads or we're going to take away your entire ability to post on YouTube. And then people are saying, well, this is messing with my ability for free speech or my jokes. I think that YouTube can understand that I don't want to say comedy channel, but you're a channel that relies on making jokes in terms of making fun of people or making fun of a way of thought of thinking. They're not gonna, go to SNL's channel and go, man, that sketch that they wrote about cowbell was super racist against cows. They're not gonna take that down because they understand it's a joke. But if you're a news channel, if you're the Wall Street Journal, then you put out a video about, it's just a whole video about making fun of Asian people, then of course they're going to turn that crap off. It doesn't, like, what are you mad at? You're mad because of the potential of it taking away from your tech channel because you said one thing against Jewish people. Then don't say anything against Jewish people. That's all I have to say. This generation, these people, and I include myself in that. It's just, you can get so butthurt sometimes, and just don't. If you do it intentionally, they're going to take it away. If you do it unintentionally, I've seen tons and tons of people post their apology videos. Just do that. Whatever. Just, they're not taking away your freedom of speech. Just don't, like, if you're like when PewDiePie, who's the biggest gaming personality on YouTube, probably on the internet, when he says like racist stuff, yeah, they should demonetize that. Or whenever he like hints at like Nazi stuff, demonetize that. These freaking people. Anyway, let's move on to the Golden Globe nominations. You can find them. Just type in Golden Globe nominations. I'm not gonna look over all of them. But one thing I want to talk about is that there was a lack of a lot of things. And I understand that there are 600 to 700 scripted television shows. I understand that movies come out left and right every single week. Either it's a streamer or in theaters or video on demand, whatever. There is a distinct lack of people of color this year in particular. And no one seems to care. Whereas 3 years ago, hashtags were started. The words Oscars so white, or Emmys so white, or Golden Globes so white. So these Globe nominations are, again, so white. And there's an uproar right now about the lack of female directors. To which I say, I'm gonna take a stance on this. I'm not gonna say anything. Listen, we should be fighting for everybody, not one sect of people. There's in the movie Knives Out. I mentioned this earlier. The movie Knives Out is getting rave reviews. People love it. It's one of the best heralded as one of the best movies of the year. Written by a guy who did a Star Wars. And there's one person of color in it. I know, and I read the synopsis. I read the plot details. Whatever. I read what the movie's about. It's about a family. I understand the family happens to be white. That's why Daniel Craig, Chris, one of the Avengers Chris's, is in there, and everybody else is white. And then there's Lakeith Stanfield. However, a couple years ago, Frances McDormand won her friggin' award, got on stage, talked about inclusion writers, and it has been 2 years and no one has done anything about it except for Michael B. Jordan and Ava DuVernay. But no one else has done anything about it. I look at the morning show on Apple TV Plus, which got Apple TV Plus its first nomination, and within a month of it being, or 2 months of it being out, which is congratulations to Apple TV for doing that, to Apple for having, for seeing that show and knowing that the 3 stars were going to get it nominations, even if the show isn't that good, which I stand by. But everybody has their own taste. But to have all these people in this industry, give a standing ovation because Frances McDormand got up there and talked about, this thing that everybody should not even have to worry about because we should be hiring people. And then to not act on it a couple years later is just it's mind-boggling how we're still in this stage of infancy when it comes to diversity in the entertainment industry. But seriously, congratulations to Apple TV Plus for look at the movies that are nominated for Best Drama: 1917, The Irishman, Joker, Marriage Story, The Two Popes. There, in each one of those movies, all the leads are white. Especially The Irishman, which I enjoyed, but it's a very white movie. Action Bronson was even in the movie, and he was in the modern day segment, and they could have hired a Latino person. It's God, and then you get down to Dolomite Is My Name is the only person of color nominated. It's Eddie Murphy for Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy. Best performance by an actress in drama. If Harriet didn't come out, and I don't know why Harriet seems like a movie that should be on television. It should be. It's like a glorified Netflix film. Cynthia Erivo. She's great. She was in Widows, I believe. She did a fantastic job. I have no plans on seeing Harriet, and I've heard that story enough. Then you get down to Best Performance by an Actor. Antonio Banderas is the only person who made it. Speaking of which, I did this for News Time, for this week's News Time. It'll be out this week, obviously, or maybe tomorrow. Who knows? But The Farewell, Parasite, and Pain and Glory, which stem from Awkwafina's in The Mandarin. The Farewell, and that's a Chinese movie, Mandarin, mostly Mandarin film. I think it's like 50% Mandarin. And then The Parasite is from Korea, and then Pain and Glory is a Spanish film. I think from Spain. I believe from Spain. They were all nominated for Best Foreign Picture, but not for Best Picture Drama. There's rules that state that the dialogue has to be 50% of the dialogue, 50% or more of the dialogue has to be in English for it to be nominated for Best Picture. That's why that didn't happen, which I understand. And in terms of Pain and Glory and The Parasite, they're fully in their language. So I kind of get that, but still. Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy. Farewell. Oh, Farewell's a comedy. Whatever. Awkwafina is the only person of color in that one. And then actor in a musical or comedy is Eddie Murphy, the only person of color in that one. The best director is all men. But Bong Joon-ho is for Parasite, so there we go. But everybody else is a white guy. And then, I mean, I'll be surprised if anyone brown takes home an award. Because after that, we don't have any brown people I'm looking at here. With the exception of Robert Lopez and Kristen Anderson Lopez and Beyonce for their Disney film contributions in the Into the Unknown for Frozen 2 and Spirit for the Lion King soundtrack, respectively. And Jennifer Lopez. That's right. Jennifer Lopez is nominated as well. That's it. Not a lot of, I mean, and then, then you look at Best Television Series Drama, Big Little Lies, The Crown, Killing Eve. Well, there we go. Sandra Oh. Morning Show, Succession. It's, God, it's just so frustrating. It's just all white people. And listen, I love white people. I love most of the women, white women. But, I mean, Billy Porter and Rami Malek shouldn't be sticking out in their respective categories for Best Actor in Television Series Drama. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and Comiskey, like those are completely white shows. Fleabag, completely white. Barry, completely, and I love these shows except for Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and the Comiskey Method. I have no plan on watching those shows. And The Politician. But it's just sad. It's just sad because we have a bunch of people fighting the wrong battles. And then we're lacking women too. So there's that. But Bombshell is a movie that got made. And there's no brown people in that. Listen, I'm gonna finish this. If you like what you heard here, head on over to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see some interviews with some great comedians. Then, if you want to see a video version of this podcast, head on over to youtube.com/cpluscomedy to see me sitting in front of a brick wall like Jerry Seinfeld, except less funny. You can also on youtube.com/cpluscomedy see News Time, the premier news show, which is like The Daily Show, except with entertainment news and way less funny. This week is talking about the Golden Globe nominations. Next week is the bloopers. Okay. And then if you want to follow us on Twitter and Instagram @cpluscomedy, follow me on Twitter and Instagram @ChadBlackWhite. Like us on Facebook. Thank you so much for listening. This is the end of the episode. I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.